While I was working out how to segment an oval so that I can, on my oval chuck, reduce the weight of the turning that I'm doing, I've realised that you can create an oval bowl without an oval chuck. It's not elliptical, but it is oval. And how we're going to do it is this. In the construction, you've got these segments of a large circle, and you've got segments of 120 degrees of the smaller circle, and this means, and I was looking at segmenting, I thought, well, I was working with 14 segments, then I worked out that you could do it with 8, which is quite nice, and I thought, well, what if you just did 4? And I thought, you can turn an oval bowl without an oval chuck. And how you do it is this. You cut a piece of wood, rectangular, and that works out, I just measured it from this, at 129.5 long by 47.5 wide. And you'd treat that like you'd segmenting it, so I cut a 30-degree angle on each end to give an included angle of 60 degrees, because this is an equilateral triangle. So I've now got a piece of like trapezoidal, I suppose, shape, a truncated pyramid, truncated triangle, this shape. At the top half and one for the bottom half. This isn't segmenting, you'll see why soon. And if I cut 6 of those, I can put it in a giant circle, and the diameter of that circle works out at 225 millimeters, 9 inches. But with these overhanging bits, it actually maxes out. It's beyond the maximum of my lathe, which is 10 inches. So I will have to trim off those. I'll have to mark up that curve on them and trim that off with a bandsaw. And I'll put 6 of those round in a ring, like a giant hexagon ring. And that will be the first turning. And that will give me 3 bowls worth of these. So it's two to a bowl. 6 will give me 3 bowls. And I'll mark a circle in on that 5mm, sorry, from the edge. I decided on a 5mm wall thickness, and a circle in 20mm from the edge, and then in that giant circle, under 9 inch being giant, it is on my lathe, I'll turn in this edge profile. So right down to 20. I'll leave a thickness of 10mm in the base, 5mm in the side, give it a bit of base. Well, there'll be 2 reasons: give it a bit of weight in the base, and I'll also put a spline to hold all this firmly together so that if you dropped it, it's not going to come apart. So that's the profile of the bowl seen from the side, if you like. And of course it's narrower the other way. Then you've got you've got 1. You need to turn 1 per bowl, 75, per bowl, 75mm diameter circle, cylinder of wood. These are going to be 40mm deep, by the way. And out of that, once it's cut, I can actually put that in the centre of this big circle and use that to mark up these segment lines, because I need the end segment, this segment there. So I can turn that profile in, I can into that 75mm diameter circle a piece of wood, I do the same. I'm marking a 5mm edge and a 20mm in from the edge line, and I turn down to this flat of 10mm, a circle in the centre. It's it's just a very basic little bowl turning, only tiny, so it won't take long. Then I'll get the bandsaw. I'll mark this up by putting it in the big circle, and I'll mark up these lines where it needs to be cut, and cut just beyond that line with the bandsaw, not down to the centre, because I need both sides of this. This end here will come from this. Let's say this is the circle the circle of wood we're working on, will come from here. So out of each one of these we get 2 segments, one for each end, and then I'll route into the base a groove, not that deep, like say half an inch deep, 3mm wide groove into all the pieces to accept a spline which will hold this together like you do with a tabletop or something like that, like you could do with biscuit joints or something like that, but a spline of course gives it support all the way along the joints, and I use 3mm birch ply for that so that it's super strong, so this isn't going to come apart if you drop it. So that's the plan. I'll do one big ring of 6 of these and 3 small bowls, cut them up with the bandsaw to give me these little bits in the middle are waste. That's the only wood we're going to waste here, and there's a little bit around the edge, and that's why I've done it this way as well, to not waste wood. And when we glue all that together and we've got a nice oval bowl, yeah, and you could do that, you could make the profile an OG or something like that. If you've got a bigger lathe specifically, I think on my lathe putting an OG on is going to bring me in a lot further, and the bottom of this is this circle here, and I think that's small enough for this is about as big as I can go on my 10-inch swing lathe. So that's it. Thanks for watching. The next video will be, I'll have these cut, mounted on a big plate, and I'll have 3 little ones cut, and you'll see what I mean. Thanks for watching.